How you doing? My name is George. I'm a compulsive overeater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I commit them to my sponsor on time at 9:30 at night, and I don't eat between meals no matter what. Abstinence and recovery are the most important things I do. Pardon me. Let me just hang up on that. Um, our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. I'm I was trying to uh, open my pitches, but I couldn't do it. But um, I was a compulsive overeater my whole life. I always wanted to eat as much food as my dad ate. And I realized that all my thoughts were about food. And my mother tried to portion control how much I ate while taking it out of the bag and putting it in a little dish. And I wanted to eat it right out of the family size bag. So I had this unusual relationship with food. And I wasn't really aware of it until I had to buy clothes for school. And we had to shop in the specialty department for my school clothes. It was called Husky, and I had to buy my school uniform there. And I remember my mother buying me dungarees, and long as I could get them around my waist, it didn't matter. We'd make a big folded up cuff on the bottom, and uh, yeah, that's how I ran around. So I had this relationship with food. I remember the first time having candy. Also, although my parents tried to moderate what I ate, they never gave me candy. And when my grandmother gave me candy, it was like, holy smokes, how come I never had this before? This was incredible. And but since we had no candy in the house, I didn't eat any candy. Um, as I got a little older, I began to work in the neighborhood businesses where I lived, and that was interesting because I made money, and anytime I got a tip, I would buy some sort of snack, um, a sweet, or a salty, or a frozen. And all the other kids that worked in the businesses in the neighborhood, when they came home, when they were walking home, their pockets were jingling with change, and my pockets weren't jingling because I had spent all my tip money. I I was I was I was heavy or overweight, and in the local paper in there would sometimes be a postage stamp article. If you want to lose 21 pounds in 1 week, follow this citrus diet. Eat 7 of these citrus in 1 day, every day for a week, and you'll lose this weight. Or drink this uh, acetic acid, and you drink 7 glasses of this a day, and by the end of the week, you'll have lost 14 pounds. And I hated that fruit. It was just too strong for me. And drinking the thing, I could only do it once and once. I couldn't do it. So I played sports, and I to play with the kids my own age, I had to weigh a certain amount. And I was always over that amount. And I had to, the only way I could get to that weight was to fast. So every year, I used to go through a period of fasting to make the weight for the football team. And the first year, maybe I only had to fast a week. And the second year, maybe I had to fast 2 weeks because they did us in 2 year increments. So I remember one time after one of these fasts, I got off the bus. I had made the weight by literally ounces. And I got off the bus and I went into an Italian restaurant. And I ordered my favorite entree. I ordered all the side dishes that went with that entree in an Italian restaurant. And then, with a big smile on my face, I'm going to tell you, I also ordered a pitcher of diet soda. And this is uh I don't know why I did this. Was I celebrating? Was I joyous? Whatever the reason was, I don't really know. Uh but what I do know and what I remember was when I came after I had this meal, I went home and my mother had says to me, "Did you make the team or did you make the weight?" And I said, "Yeah, I made it." And she opened the oven door and the same meal was there. My favorite Italian entree, and I ate that meal also. So I was always eating no matter what. As we like to say, we eat or don't eat no matter what, but I was always eating. And uh, this continued in my life until I went in service. I was about 235 pounds. And at the end of basic training, I weighed 185 pounds. And I like to say the military, in its infinite wisdom, sent me to Baker School. And at the end of 6 to 8 weeks in Baker School, I weighed 249 pounds. And that was just from eating all those baked goods as soon as they were made, hot, greasy, sugary, whatever it was. Uh, and I gained all this weight. Then when I went to my duty station, I met a whole bunch of guys like me that like to drink and eat and carry on. And one of the things that we also did was play racquetball. And I played racquetball every day and I lost all that weight. I was in the best shape of my life. I felt like a panther when I was walking. It was incredible. But I was out of my mind. I would go after we play racquetball, we would eat and drink and drug and do all kinds of crazy carrying ons. Um, get out of the army, weighed about 235 pounds again, and went to school, met a girl, and got engaged. And somebody says to me, "Are you going to lose any weight before you get married?" I said, "Of course. By the time I get married, I'm going to be skinny." And when I got married, I weighed about 228 pounds. I had lost that 5, 8, 10 pounds the week or two before I got married. I had no way of modulating my weight. Uh, I didn't know how it was all connected with eating and overweight and overeating and overweight. I didn't know. And I had no idea of all the factors that caused me to eat at this point. I was totally in a fog. All I knew was eat, drink, eat, drink. That's all I knew. Um, After I got married, um, my weight started to take off. I would, on the weekends, I would cook food for the week. I'd cook a roast, a pot of sauce, some poultry, something. So every night when we came home from work, I could make some plates and me and my wife could have dinner. We wouldn't have to come home and cook dinner. It was already made, just had to heat it up. And I would make two identical plates, one for me, one for my wife. Now, when I got married, I said I was 228 pounds and my wife was 110 pounds. And she couldn't finish her plate. And to show you the depth of my disease, in my heart of hearts, I believed that my wife had an eating disorder, that she couldn't eat a grown-up plate of food. So I ate my plate. I finished her leftovers. I had a bowl of frozen. I put it on the television. I watched Alex Trebek. I talked to Alex Trebek on the television, and I thought I had a pretty good life. And this went on. My life was the same, but my weight was going up and up and up. And I guess about 260 pounds. I'm buying all my clothing in the specialty store. I'm doing all those crazy things, washing my clothing in cold water, hanging it up wet. If not putting one drop of my clothing in the dryer. Uh, and when you go to the big man store, you get what they got. There's no choices there. Sky blue, pink. I guess that's what I'm getting. And uh, I this went on till I weighed about 290 pounds. I recall 290 pounds. I used to go out after work with the guys, and we would go drinking and eating. And at 290 pounds, I said, "This is my line in the sand," like Muammar Gaddafi had said. I am not gaining any more weight. If I do anything, it's going to say diet or light. That's it. The next time I weighed myself, I was 309 pounds. 5 more minutes. Okay. That's what I was like. What happened was I went up to about 315 pounds, and I was walking home one day. So all the things that had many people talk about, the Ammons medicated powder, the cornstarch, my pants wearing out in the crotch. I'm taking all my my suits to the tailor to sacrifice the vest, to fix the pants, to fix make them bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was walking home, and I wondered if they had I was like, I didn't know what to do. I had tried many diets, they didn't work. Uh, and I didn't know what to do. I was at my end. I did that gerbil thing. This Monday I'll have a diet. This Monday, this Monday, this month, and it just didn't work. And I didn't know what the problem was. Um, but I found out there was a program called Overeaters Anonymous. My brother had about 10 plus years in an anonymous program. I thought maybe they have an anonymous program for food. And it was it was in like the end of February in New York or March, but I remember it like a warm spring day. And I found out they had a meeting, Overeaters Anonymous, and I went there. And it was like, who writes the story about the cave when you only see the shadows and you think that's reality? Um, and I thought my life was the reality. And I realized I was a compulsive overeater, had all these issues with food, and it was fantastic. I got a sponsor. I did many, 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 almost everything that we do here. I would call my sponsor every night, commit my food with exception, and go to meetings. And going to meetings was the greatest, greatest thing I could do because I told you I didn't know why I ate. When I went to meetings, there were people talking about how they felt and what was going on. And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what's going on with me." And I began to weave a life for myself, like what was going on, what was happening with me. And I was totally lost before that. I had no idea why I was eating, why I was drinking. Just all my behavior was just based on fear. Anything, fear, 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 fear. So I went to Overeaters Anonymous. I went down to 185 pounds, went on maintenance, started getting my weight back, started lying again. I lied to my sponsor. I did that manipulation. Do I have to call you? He said, "You don't have to call me if you're eating the same thing." And before I know, my weight was back up to 250, 260. I had to fire my sponsor because obviously I was gaining weight. He was no good. I thought it was all him. I had my carbohydrate epiphany. My friend owned a business in Brooklyn where they made the long Italian thing in the long white bag, and he would give me one. I'd eat it coming home. 22 miles, I'd eat one. I went back the next week. I said, "You got to give me two." He gives me two. I ate the two on the way home. The next week I go back. I said, "You got to give me three." I ate the three on the way home, but I couldn't believe it. I was looking under the seats of the car. I said, "Where did it go? Where did it go?" And I ate the three of them. And then because I went to a lot of meetings, that was my carbohydrate epiphany. I knew I had a problem with carbs and starches. I went to Gray Sheet. I was terrified. I was All of my dope fiend fears came right to the surface. I realized that I would do whatever I want, and then I would make up the backstory to fulfill that. And I, uh, I was scared. I didn't think, first of all, I didn't think you could live without all those things I was eating. 1 more minute, all right. Uh, I went to Gray Sheet. Every time they gave me a suggestion, I thought this is the last time they're going to see me. And Every time they made a suggestion and I had to use it, made it a little easier for the next suggestion. And that's how it went. It was like 5 years before I began to pray. It was about 7 years before I got on my knees. I like to tell the knee story. I'm in my bedroom on my knees. I'm praying, and my wife comes in. She says, "Oh my God, what's the matter? Are you okay?" I'm saying, "Oh, I'm just saying a prayer. That's all right." And she thought I was having a stroke or something, but that's okay. Uh, this is the best thing I've done. Going to Overeaters Anonymous, you don't have to do it, but for me, it was definitely part of my journey as far as helping me fill that emotional void and filling it with words. Uh, wow, that was the quickest 15 minutes I've ever encountered. Thank you very much for letting me speak, and I don't eat no matter what. Thank you.